Hey, good day, folks. Welcome to another episode of Andrew's Life. I hope everybody's doing great today. I just got home from work. So far, so good. Everything's going great. Hopefully, you guys are having the same type of day or you had the same type of day. So, obviously, there's been a lot of talk about people now no longer wanting to work a 9 to 5. People are hating that 9 to 5. A lot of videos talking about how people rather delete themselves as opposed to working a 9 to 5. Now I know in most cases, uh, people who make those kind of videos don't really mean what they mean. It's just a very strong way to express their dislike of working a 9 to 5. So, is there truly a way to live a happy life? To even live your happiest, to even live your best and happiest life while at the same time working a 9 to 5? I'm going to say yes. And throughout this video, I'm going to elaborate on why I say yes. And I'm going to use myself as an example once again. Now, I made a video about a week or so ago uh, telling you guys that I had a little bit of regret of not bettering myself when I was younger so I could earn a better income. And having I bettered myself younger, right now I would have been retired already. But another confession I want to make is I'm gonna be honest. I enjoy doing the kind of work that I do right now, despite the fact that it doesn't pay the most amount of money in the world. Which is why, for the most part, throughout my adult life, I had to work two jobs, and for a number of years, I even donated plasma on top of that. And on top of that, from time to time, I might do little side jobs, like maybe I might go and cut someone's yard or cut a few yards or whatever. Now, for many of you, you're probably thinking that's a lot of work, you know, and yeah, it was a lot of work, but it is what it is. And I'm gonna be honest with you, people. I and I told you guys before, and I'm gonna tell you guys again. I actually enjoy doing custodial work. I actually enjoy doing some maintenance work, but I enjoy doing custodial work better. So for me, when I'm working a job I like, to me life is a lot better, and I'm a much happier person when I'm working a job I like. Even though working as a custodian might pay less than, let's say, working at a factory or working at a warehouse, I'm happier working as a custodian. Much happier. My life is a lot stressful. And my attitude is I rather work two jobs totaling, let's say, 60 hours a week. I rather work two jobs slash 60 hours a week, a job that I enjoy doing, as opposed to working, let's say, 40 hours a week at a job that I dislike. Yes, you heard me correctly. I rather do 60 hours a week of custodial work than to do only 40 hours a week of factory or warehouse work because I I am not a fan of factory or warehouse work. I'm not a fan of the I'm not a fan of the overall hurry work fast, and then you got people that typically click up, they're real cliquish, and I've never been a fan of that kind of stuff. Because there's been a bunch of jobs I've had to where I did work factories or I did work at a warehouse, and sometimes I felt like I was back in high school. because of how immature some of the employees were. As for when I do custodial work, I basically set my own pace, and as long as I get everything done in a timely manner, which I do as a custodian, I do, everyone's happy. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I've gotten a lot of compliments on my work as a custodian. Like, rather I'm just doing housekeeping, people tend to like the work I do. Or if I'm working as a floor tech, which is basically a person that attends to the maintenance of hard floors. People like what I do. Like at there were a bunch of people that were actually happy to see me back at my current job that I used to work at about a couple of years ago. And I honestly, like I told you guys, I was only there for a few months and then I quit because I was wanting to do some traveling and I was wanting to give full time YouTubing a try. So when I came back, when I decided to take my old job back here in Alabama, I to my surprise, a lot of people welcomed me back. They told me how they liked the work I did, and some of the employees missed me there because I did such a good job. And again, I'm not trying to toot my horn. I'm just trying to. I guess what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to encourage you guys that when it comes to working a 9 to 5, you don't have to live a life of misery just because you work a 9 to 5. You can work a 9 to 5 and still be happy. You can even live your happiest and best life while working a 9 to 5. Now, do I want to work a 9 to 5 forever? No, I don't. Eventually, I would like to get back out here and do my own thing. But at this juncture, uh, it's going to be the best for me, financially speaking, for me to work a 9 to 5. I mean, obviously, I got this YouTube channel going, and there's something else that I'm going to do on my own, which I'll let you guys know when that happens. But for now, I need to work some kind of a 9 to 5 in conjunction to everything else I'm doing. And my attitude is, even when I'm working 9 to 5, I refuse to be miserable. So if whatever job I work, if I'm miserable, I'm quitting. And now there's a lot of you that you might have a job, and when you decide to quit, you just quit. You don't even bother to give your 2 week notice. And I want to talk about that real briefly. I'm going to talk about that right now. And again, I'm going to use myself as an example. Now, this is how I do it. Now, if I have a job and I like the job, and I believe the people are decent and they treat me decently, and for whatever reason, if I want to quit that job, I try to not burn my bridges. So I will give a 2 week notice because my attitude is you never know what could happen. You might need that job. Like in the case of my old job here in Alabama, along with my old job in Indiana that I was going to take, but fortunately I was able to get this job here in Alabama. That way I can stay down here rather than having to move back up north. See, for those 2 jobs, I liked the work. I liked the work that I did. The management was decent. So therefore, when I decided to quit, I gave those employers a 2 week notice. And when I got myself into a situation to where I needed those jobs back, both employers were willing to hire me back at the drop of a hat. Both of them were. And of course, I chose the job here in Alabama. So, FYI, if you're working at a company you like and you get treated decently, and for whatever reason you want to quit, my advice to you guys is to go ahead and give your 2 week notice. Don't listen to these goons online off in the comment section telling you to quit your job. Don't even bother giving them 2 weeks. They're not going to give you 2 weeks if they quit you, whatever, whatever. My suggestion is go ahead, put your 2 week notice in, and do whatever it is you do. And if you ever get in a situation to where for whatever reason you have to go back to a 9 to 5, maybe you might want to go back to your old job because you like the work, you like the job, you know the job. Maybe you liked a bunch of the people, the management was decent, and you want to go back. Now, if you try to go back and you quit without giving any 2 week notice, they might be like, nah, we don't want you back. As for having you gave you a 2 week notice, they would have been a lot more likely to take you back on because you gave your 2 week notice. Now, I've had my fair share of jobs to where I did not give a 2 week notice. Either A, I worked the full day, and then the next day I just never went back. Or B, I walked off the job. Now I will say the job I walked off of a couple of months ago, that was the very first job I walked off of to where I was right in the middle of the shift. But that job, like I said, I have no desire to go back there. I have no desire to go back there. I didn't care for the work. I didn't care for the people. To me, that company just sucked. So, if I'm working for an employer that I don't have any desire to go back to, I have no problem just walking off. If it's real bad, I'll walk off in the middle of the day. I don't care. Or if I can deal with it, maybe I'll finish off the day, and then the following day, I just don't go back. Because to me, even when it comes to a 9 to 5, I refuse to be miserable for an extended period of time. Because I don't believe anybody has to be miserable or should be miserable, even while working a 9 to 5. Because my attitude is, let's say you get a job, you like the job, you like the people. Well, that job is not gonna feel that job is not gonna feel so much like you're at work. It's going. I don't know how to explain it to you people. I don't know how to explain it. But if you get a job that you really like and the people are decent, it's not gonna feel so much like you're at work. Now, let's say at this job, something happens to where maybe the company's budget is bad and they have to lay a bunch of people off. And you're one of the employees that they gotta lay off. Are you gonna feel some kind of way? Of course you are, because in most cases when that happens, it's gonna happen unexpectedly. You're gonna be a little sidewinded. Now you're gonna have to replan your finances. You're gonna have to replan other aspects of your life most likely, especially if you have a family to take care of. But despite all that, if you at least liked the job, if you at least liked the people, if you at least liked the work you did there, I guarantee you, you're not going to be as upset as you would if you were to work a job that you really didn't like. Maybe the people were okay, but you just dealt with them. You didn't, they were just okay at best, but you didn't really like the job. You took the job because the benefits were good, the pay was high, and those were the only reasons why you took that job. Now, if you were to get laid off of a job like that, typically you're going to be a lot more upset you're going to really feel some kind of way. Not because you like the job and you're going to miss the job, not because you like the people and you're going to miss them. It's going to be because you're making good money. And now you're going to go from earning that good money to most likely having to take another job to where the pay is substantially less, which means you're going to have to do some heavy adjusting on your finances. And my attitude is, my attitude is, if I have to work at 9 to 5, if I have to work for somebody else, I'm gonna be, I'm gonna be happy as I can working that job. I'm gonna keep my stress level down to next to zero at that job. How do I do that? Very easy. A, as I've explained before on previous videos, I get jobs that align with who I am as a person and also who I am in terms of my working habits. And B, as long as I get along with at least most of the people, I'm good. Now, if I get a job to where I don't get along with a bunch of people, I'm not doing it. I'm gone. I'm out. And obviously, I'm not working a job I don't like. So for those of you that are crying about having to work a 9 to 5, you don't like the job you do, blah blah blah. Or for those of you that don't want to work a 9 to 5 because you don't want to be miserable, you want to stay happy and all that other good shit, the best advice I can give you is to take heed to the story. I mean, well, not the story, but take heed to my example that I just gave you guys about myself and why it is that I chose to get a job working as a custodian as opposed to a position that would pay significantly higher. And yes, the job I took back in Alabama, well, really, the job I took back here in Alabama is a mixture of custodian work and maintenance work. Now, I'm gonna get paid the maintenance rates, which is a little higher than regular custodial work, but where I'm at, they're so short people that I might, one day I'll do maintenance, next day I might do custodian work. It all depends. But the pay. I mean, and that's another thing. And to my surprise, which is a good surprise, the pay that they told me I was gonna make if I were to take that job back, well, when I got back to my old job I had here in Alabama, when I went into the human resource office to do all my paperwork and all my orientation stuff, the pay that they told me I was going to be making was actually higher than what me and the supervisor thought that I was going to be making. It was significantly higher. So to my surprise, and a pleasant surprise, I'm earning a little bit more money than what I thought that I would be making. In fact, compared to the money that I would have made when I moved back up to Indiana, I'm making close to that same amount of money right here in Alabama. Very close. And I didn't even have to move. So I consider that a blessing, a big blessing. So yeah, so for those of you that are crying about working a 9 to 5 and you think you cannot live a happy life working a 9 to 5, let this video be an example of how you could. And let this video also be an example of why it is that if you're working a job you like and you want to quit for whatever reason, always, always, always give your 2-week notice. And on that note, y'all have a blessed one. If you like what I do, Give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't done so, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And on that note, stay blessed. I will catch you guys on the next one.